Hi, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and safe and staying sane in this intense time. I also hope that you are doing something good for yourself each day, whether it's a meditation or you are continuing with your yoga practice. I've missed you all so much, so I thought let's practice together. So let's get started on our backs. So go ahead and lie back. Find yourself in that most comfortable position of Shavasana. And we'll just take a few moments here. So if you do have any lower back concerns, feel free to rest the knees against each other, feet as wide as the mat. If the legs feel good, if the lower back feels good, you can stretch the legs long. So whatever feels good to your body for today, and you can also change it up just to experience kind of a new sensation, a new way to fully relax and release. And then turning the palms to face up. Let's take a few exhales out the mouth. So lots going on. Can be really easy to just keep your eyes glued to the news and listen to all that's going on. So let's give our minds a break as we start to focus on our breath. And let's start to build our Ujjayi breath. So let's breathe in and out through the nose and really feel the lower part of the belly really rise and fall as you breathe. So you're feeling things kind of slow down, maybe even a slight pause at the top of the inhale and the bottom of the exhale. And if you can breathe in and out through the nose, please do so. But if you do find that it's a little bit more uncomfortable, feel free to breathe in and out of the mouth or a combo of the two. And then let's add that soothing sound to our breath. And if you do find the mind is consumed with so many other things, make the breath louder. Make the breath so loud that the mind is just kind of attached to it, latched onto it. And then notice if you're feeling tension in any other part of your body. For me, it tends to be the muscles that support my neck. So those muscles along the upper back. And then see if you can soften those areas, whatever those areas are for you. Maybe it's that space between the eyebrows. Maybe it's the face. So we'll take a few more moments to see if you can relax those areas a little bit more. I just noticed that the back of my neck was really tensed up, so I was able to release that with my breath. And then, as always, feel free to modify or skip anything that doesn't feel good. Take as many breaks as you need. If you do feel any unusual symptoms, stop immediately and seek medical attention. And just do what feels good. So if your legs are straight on the mat, go ahead and bend those knees, slide the feet onto your mat. And let's start with that gentle sway of the knees right and left. If it feels good, you can turn the head in the opposite direction as the knees. It's coming into an easy twist. So just depending on what time of day it is that you're doing your practice. If it's in the morning, maybe just slowly ease into it. But if it's more towards the day or even in the evening when your body's already warm, you can go into a deeper twist. If that feels good, let's draw those knees back to point up to the ceiling. Let's rest the knees against each other. And then let's start to draw those arms up to the ceiling, palms facing each other. Drag the backs of the shoulders into your mat and really kind of snuggle them down, snuggle them away from the ears. And then if it's okay on the shoulders, start to lift those arms any amount up over the head, energizing through the arms, shoulders drawing towards those hips. Belly is engaged, so engage through that core so you don't overarch through the lower back. Breathe here. Neutral position in the spine as best as you can. So we're kind of quietly building some heat, quietly building some strength. So we're not resting those arms up over our head onto your mat. We're kind of hovering them at your comfortable point. So you start to feel, maybe you might feel a little shakiness start to build in as we warm things up a little bit longer for another full round of breath, for your Ujjayi breath. And then let's slowly draw those arms up and then back down by the sides and then just rest them down. Just allow them to kind of flop down. And let's start to step those feet about hip bone distance apart. And then start to draw the right knee into the chest. And we'll use our fingertips behind the right thigh just for a little bit of support as you stretch the right leg towards straight. Remember, you can have a soft bend in those knees, in the knee, and then let's start to get some movement into the foot. Wiggle those toes, stretch the sole of the foot, circle the ankle a few times in one direction, and then change the direction of your ankle circle. And then inhale, press that heel up. And then as you exhale, just hug that right knee as high as is comfortable and point out through the toes. If it feels good, you can even lift your bottom a little bit off the mat, pressing into your left heel. And then on the next inhale, release the bottom back down, neutral position in the spine. Straighten that right leg either up or even a little bit lower if you want to start to engage through the belly. And then as you exhale, hug it in, press into that left heel, maybe lift your bottom off of the mat, or maybe not as you stretch out through that right buttock, right hip. And then one more time, inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, draw it back in. And then set your bottom down, set the right foot down over to the other side. Start to draw the left leg in, fingertips support the back of the left leg if you need it. And let's start first by pointing and then flexing the foot a few times, seeing how the ankle's doing. Let's circle that foot a few times in one direction and then change the direction of your foot circle. And then inhale, straighten that left leg. And then exhale, point through the toes, hug it in. Maybe press into the right heel. Maybe you're lifting your bottom a little bit off the mat, if that is okay on the spine. And then inhale, straighten, maybe lower, start to incorporate the muscles of the core. And then exhale, hug it in, stretch it out. And then one more time, inhale is to lengthen. And then exhale is to hug in, point out through the toes. And then release bottom down. Let's draw both knees into the chest. And then let's have one hand lightly on each knee. So let's circle in opposite directions, start to open up through the hips. Get a nice stretch there. Change the direction of your circle. And then let's draw those knees together, extend both legs up. Fingertips can be behind the legs for a little bit of support. Flex through the feet. Inhale. Maybe you're lowering the legs a little bit further down as you start to engage strongly through the lower belly, strongly through the core, even the side waist. Neutral position in the spine. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, hug it in. If it feels good to pick your hips off of the mat, you can do so. But if you are thinking about engaging through the core, so the core is what is lifting your hips off of the mat, not just your hands. Inhale, lengthen, straighten, flex through the feet. Exhale, hug it in. And let's do a few more rounds, finding neutral position in the spine as you straighten the legs, tighten up through the core, and then exhale is when you can hug it in and stretch out through the lower back. And let's do that 2 more rounds on the rhythm of the breath. And then one more time, inhale. And then exhale, draw it in. And let's set both feet down onto the mat for our bridge pose. Feet and knees hip bone distance, all 10 toes pointing forward. Heels of the feet are about 1 hand length away from your bottom. Arms down by the sides, palms down. Inhale, let's press those hips up. Direct the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the lower back. And then exhale, roll it on down. And let's lift the arms either up to the ceiling, drag the backs of the shoulders into the mat, or up over the head. Inhale, hips lift, arms down, nice stretch here, and then exhale, release down as the arms lift. A few more rounds on the rhythm of the breath. Inhale is to lift the hips. Exhale, roll it on down. And then twice more. Working the back of the body, stretching the front as you come into your bridge pose. And then when you're releasing down, you're still working the front of the core and stretching the arms up. Let's do one more time. Inhale, lift those hips. And then exhale, lower them, roll them down the spine. And then when your bottom reaches down onto the mat, let's return those arms also back down by the sides. And then let's draw those knees into the chest, give them a squeeze, maybe a little circular motion with those knees. And then let's extend those legs back up to the ceiling. You can have a soft bend in the knees to start. You can draw the arms out to the side a little bit for some support as we come into our side-to-side leg swing. So let's draw the legs a little bit over to the right or however far feels good to you. And then through center and over to the left. Shoulders stay firmly planted onto your mat. You're welcome to bend the knees a little bit more. You can draw the legs a little bit closer to you. You can straighten the legs, whatever feels good. We're just starting to get some work, some movement, some easy twisting movement for the spine, some work along the side waist. And just a few more times so you're even on both sides. And just depends on the limitations also of your space. I don't want to hit my curtains too much on the side. Let's come back to center, hug those knees in. And then any movement that feels good to stretch it out. And then let's draw the tips of the toes together, separate those knees, coming into a reclined butterfly pose. I like to have my arms are on the inside of my legs. Hands are lightly on the ankles or a little bit higher. And with my big toes touching, I'm just gently using my forearms to separate those legs a little bit more. Maybe the soles of my feet come together. So thinking of butterfly pose in the bottom half of the body, just to get an easy stretch out through those inner legs. One more round of breath here. And then release, draw those knees together, cross right thigh over the left. Relax through those feet. You can flex the feet if that's more comfortable on the knees. Use your fingers underneath your left thigh to draw that leg shape in. You'll get a little stretch on that outer right leg. And then let's switch over to the other side. Left thigh crosses over the right. Fingertips behind or underneath the right leg. Gently draw the leg shape towards you. And then let's slowly release. Place the feet onto your mat. And from here, we'll slowly roll onto one side. Press your way up to a comfortable seated position. And then when you find yourself in that comfortable seat, remember whatever comfortable seat means to you. If you do have some blocks and you would like to slide them underneath your hips, you can do so. If you don't have any blocks, you're welcome to just roll up a blanket or a towel and just set them underneath your hips so that you can experience what sitting up tall feels like comfortably, engaging through the core. And then let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center. Take a moment here. If you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, you can do so. And then let's open the eyes. Namaste, everyone. Nice to see you all again. Let's inhale to circle those arms out and up. And exhale, hands to the heart. So remember, feel free to modify, back off, even skip anything that doesn't feel good, especially on the joints. And these times we want to practice a lot of self-care where we do what feels good to the body. And then one last time, hands to the heart, hands onto the legs. Change the crossing of the legs if they're crossed. Let's do a few spinal circles, moving in one direction and just feeling, noticing how the body's doing, especially that lower back area. If you are working from home and find yourself sitting a lot, you might just experience, see how the back is doing. Let's change the direction of our circles, seeing how the back, the hips, noticing how the posture has been doing also. And then let's make our way back to sit up nice and tall. Inhale, little seated cow pose, and then exhale, engage strongly through the core to round. Let's just do that 2 more times. Inhale, seated cow, and then exhale, round. One last time, deep breath in, and then deep breath out. Let's return to that tall way of sitting. So you can relax those outer knees down. So if this is kind of the weird way of the crossing of the legs, you might start to notice that the legs are starting to lift. So see, as best as you can, kind of relax them down. Let's come into a seated twist. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, I can mirror you. So let's go over to the right, turning the head to a comfortable point, turning the shoulders and the chest. Breathing, finding that Ujjayi breath, and then let's come through center as you inhale, exhale over to the other side. And then slowly make your way back to center. Let's circle those arms out and up as you take an inhale, and then exhale, side bend to the right, relaxing the shoulders down, just easy warm up side bend. And then inhale through center, exhale over to the other side. And then let's press our way back. Inhale, exhale, hands to the heart. Let's come forward onto our hands and knees. So coming into our tabletop pose. And then when you get there, just another 2 rounds of our cow-cat. So inhaling into your cow pose, stretch it out. Exhaling, round into the spine. And then one more time, inhale and exhale. Let's come back to center. You can set the knees a little bit closer towards each other for balancing cat. Extend the right leg straight back. Let's first get a little stretch to the back of the right leg, a little bit of weight into those right toes without locking the knee. And then coming back to neutral, float the right leg just to the height of the hip, or you can keep those toes down. And then maybe add the left arm. Breathing here. Feel the shoulders move back towards the hips move up towards the shoulders, but notice if you're overarching through the spine. So really try to find some length, especially in the lower back. And then hand, knee down, over to the other side. First, that little stretch, left toes extend back, little weight into the back or into that left heel, nice easy stretch. And then before you lift, if you decide to lift the leg, really pull in that navel, find neutral position in the spine, lengthen through the lower back so we're not overarching in this area, and then start to lift. And then maybe add the right arm and pull the shoulders back. And breathe. And then release. Set the knee down. Let's sit it back in a child's pose. But in this child's pose, let's come on to our fingertips and separate those hands, maybe even wider than the mat. Relax the armpits down and relax the forehead down either onto your mat or a block if you have it, or a blanket, your support. And then let's start to walk those hands back, forward, flatten the palms. Let's rise back into our tabletop pose. One more venture into our balancing cat, really focusing on the core and those upper back muscles to draw the shoulders back. So right leg, left arm. And then depending on the time of the day, you can start to bend the right knee, reach the left arm back. Maybe you're just kind of very gently touching the foot, or maybe just gently have your hand onto the foot, draw the shoulders back, easy stretch. So remember, mild sensation. If it's more than mild, then you can just have the limbs still kind of floating. And then let's extend everything back out and then place it down. Tighten up through the core, left leg. Remember, you can keep the toes down. So whatever stage feels good to you, right arm extends maybe if that feels good. And then maybe you're bending the left knee, reaching that right hand back. Maybe you're just barely touching the tip of the toe, or maybe you're floating, or maybe you have the foot and rolling shoulders back. And breathing here. Squeezing that outer right hip in so the spine stays along the center line of the mat. Let's release, extend. Hand down, knee down, sit it back in child's pose. This time, let's turn the palms to face up. And then start to just get an easy stretch through those wrists. So if it has been a while since you've done your yoga practice, no worries. You might need a little extra stretches for those hands or for those wrists. Let's turn the palms to face down. Let's rise back up onto our hands and knees, scooch back so the tips of the toes are aligned with the back of your mat. Let's first come into puppy pose so we can open up through the chest. So start to walk your hands forward, move the shoulders down, and then you can release forearms, elbows onto the mat, forehead down onto the mat or a blanket. So feel the sensation of opening up the chest gently, elongating through the spine. Find your Ujjayi breath. Hips stay over the knees, and then let's lift the head so we can walk our hands And let's come into our downward facing dog. So remember, puppy pose is a nice option if you prefer not to come all the way into downward facing dog. And you can always take a child's pose. If you're coming into downward facing dog, walk the hands a little bit forward to the shoulders. Let's curl those toes under, draw those hips back, and kind of rolling on up into downward facing dog. And when you get there, maybe if this is your first down dog for today, maybe you're separating the feet as wide as the mat and you're pedaling through, or you're getting a little bit of movement. Whatever feels good, as long as you keep that good position of the shoulders. So shoulders are drawing to the hips, pointy parts of the elbows start to draw down towards your mat, and that is from an external rotation at the shoulder joints. So feel that the lats, those muscles along the upper back, are also working. And then taking a few moments here, taking a few rounds of breath here. And then let's set our our knees down onto the mat and sit it back into child's pose. And then from our child's pose, let's slowly come back up. And then find your inversion of choice one more time before we come up to a standing position. So either puppy pose or downward facing dog, melting the shoulders down. And then let's slowly walk forward. Bend those knees, slow roll it on up. Adjust the clothes. And when you get to the top, let's make our way into mountain pose. So let's draw those arms down by the sides, turn the palms to face forward. Inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do a sun salutation. So coming to the top of the mat, inhaling, arms out or forward and up. Exhale, soft bend in the knees into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, draw the heart forward, strong flat back, lengthen. And then exhale, bend the knees, plant the palms, and step it back into plank pose. And just take a moment here. So knees down is always an option. So you can draw those shoulders back to the hips, really tighten up through the core. Try to find neutral spine as best as you can. Notice if you're overarching, try to lengthen. Think about that tailbone lengthening away from the head. Take another inhale, and then as you exhale, let's come right to downward facing dog. So kind of moving through stages for our sun salute. And then on the inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's rise all the way up. Strong flat back, or you can roll up the spine as long as you're bending those knees, engaging through the core to protect the back. Inhale, arms forward or out and up. Exhale, melt it into your fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen, even lengthen the back of the neck. And then exhale, step it back to plank pose, top of the push-up. So you're welcome to stay there in your plank pose, knees up or down. If you'd like to move through your vinyasa, maybe knees down for this first one. Shift a little bit forward, knees lower, and then with the elbows alongside the body, chest and hips reach the mat. Inhale into your cobra, shoulders draw back, elbows stay in, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, stretching it out if that feels good. Maybe even a little bit of movement with the head if that feels good. And then on the next inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, make your way to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's rise all the way up. And then hands to the heart. One more time. Inhale, just to complete our warm-up. And then exhale, dive it down. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, step it back to plank. Knees can be up or down. You can hold plank or flow through your vinyasa, shifting a little bit forward. Lowering, halfway or all the way down. Inhale into your back bend. And exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a few rounds of breath here, or maybe it's a child's pose. Maybe you're stretching out the wrists. Maybe you're finding your Ujjayi breath. Maybe you're adding a little sway. So kind of just what feels good to your body. Extend those arms back forward if they're not already there. And make your way back to downward facing dog if you're not already there. And then from downward facing dog, let's start to float the right leg back and up. And then come forward into plank, knee to nose. Round through the spine. Inhale, three-legged dog. And then exhale, step or carry it to the inside of the right hand and lower the left knee down to the mat. So make sure those knees and the feet are hip bone distance apart. And then drawing your hips forward. So you can stay with the fingertips high onto your mat. If you have blocks, you can use them, or if you have any books just for a little bit of height, feel free to use those as well. Make sure that right knee stays atop the right ankle, left fingertips stay down, and then let's stretch the right arm up, coming into a twist. Move the shoulders down, feel the hips moving forward and not off to the side. So keep that right thigh parallel to the long edge of the mat. And then take those right fingertips back down. We'll curl the left toes under, straighten the left leg. Runner's lunge, plant the palms, and just as slowly as you made it forward, let's step it back. Engaging through the core, trying to keep that knee hugged in for as long as you can. And then over to the other side, left leg floats up. Shift forward into plank, knee to nose, round through the spine. Inhale, float it back up. And then exhale, shift forward, really squeeze, use the core, and then step or carry that left foot to the inside of the left hand, lower the right knee to the mat. Draw those hips forward, relax the shoulders down. Still thinking about lengthening through that lower back, so the tailbone is melting down and not moving up. And then right hand stays where it is. Let's start to find an easy twist. Left arm reaches up. Move the shoulders down, start to feel the twists happening from the navel up, and then keep that left leg parallel to the outer edge of the mat. And then let's release left hand down, curl the right toes under, straighten the right leg, runner's lunge first. Plant the palms, and then using that strength of the core, step it back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, bend the knees, look forward, and then step or hop to the top of the mat. Let's finish our sun salute. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's rise all the way up. Feel free to bend those knees, and then hands to the heart. Separate your feet a little bit wider than the hips, supported forward fold. And then let's first get a stretch for the chest. So interlace those fingers back behind you and let's open up through the chest. Roll those shoulders back, tailbone down, lengthen through the lower part of the spine. Notice if the head starts to draw forward. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. Draw the head back and breathe here. If it feels good to lift the arms a little bit further away from your bottom, you can. And then go ahead and release. We'll do that one more time. Change the crossing of the fingers. Open up through the chest. Open up through the shoulders. Feel the length along the neck, the side, the back. Maybe lift the arms a little bit higher or further away from your bottom if that feels good. Nice stretch there. You're also stretching out through the wrists. And then let's slowly release. Let's come into chair pose. So either feet together or feet hip bone distance apart. And as you're ready, let's find our way into chair. Move the shoulders down. Let's turn the palms to face forward. So if your arms are more parallel, just turn the palms to face down. So nice bend in those knees, feel the weight into the heels, engage through the muscles of your bottom and your legs. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, let's start to draw those arms back behind us and lift the heels and feel the work of the toes. And then inhale, softly release those heels down, lift the arms up, engage strongly through the belly. Notice what the tailbone is doing. Try to keep it pointing more down than up. And then exhale, arms back behind. Maybe lift those heels a little bit higher. Maintain a bend in those knees. Inhale is to lift, chair pose. And exhale, arms back behind you. Lift those heels, maybe straighten the legs a little bit more, hinging forward at the hips. Soft bend in those knees, relax, heels down, arms lift forward and up, and then hands to the heart. Let's keep that right foot where it is. Step the left foot back. Let's come into warrior one base. So set the base really well. Heels are hip bone distance apart. Left toes angled to the top or outside of the top left corner of the mat. And let's find ourselves in warrior one. Move the shoulders down. And we'll take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, let's come into your humble warrior. So either hinging forward about 45 degrees. If it is okay to bow forward, you can. Maybe interlacing the fingers. Taking a round of breath here. Making sure those hips don't drift off to the side. Lots of work for the leg. Active in the feet and the ankles. And then engage through the core to rise back up. Come back to warrior one. Settle the shoulders down. Let's lift the left heel, turn the left toes to point forward. Feel kind of lightness in that back left foot. And let's slowly start to transfer the weight into the right leg as you stand up tall in the right leg. Maybe those left toes stay on the mat. Maybe you lift the left foot. Maybe you're hinging forward a little bit, almost like you're approaching warrior three, tightening up through the belly. And then let's release those arms down as we upright in one piece so that the spine stays protected. And then over to the other side, left foot stays where it is, right foot steps back. Warrior one base, hips point forward, shoulders point forward, lengthen, tailbone down. Neutral position in the spine as best as you can. Left knee stacks and stacks atop the ankle, tracks towards the center of the toes. Reach those arms up. Take another inhale here. And then as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Your humble warrior, either halfway or a little bit more forward down. Maybe interlacing the fingers opposite pinky on top and breathing here. So it's up to you, the depth of your humble warrior. You're welcome to stay up even a little bit higher with a strong flat back. Just listening to your body, especially your back. And then let's slowly release, rise on up, melt those shoulders down. Lift the right heel, turn the right toes to point forward, high crescent pose. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, feel the weight transfer into your left leg. Standing up tall, maybe keeping the right big toe in contact with the mat. Maybe starting to hinge forward at the hips, approaching a warrior three, engaging strongly through the belly. Notice if the tailbone's lifting. Make sure you're lengthening through that lower spine. And then release arms down and go ahead and upright. Inhale. Let's draw those arms forward and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Ooh, let's come into that supported forward fold that I mentioned we were going to do earlier. So separate your feet a little bit wider than the hips. Soft bend in the knees. Maybe it's the forearms onto the thighs. If it is okay for your body to go lower, then hands can slide onto your legs, your feet, blocks, mat, blanket, as long as we are supported in this forward fold. If you are comfortably resting your upper half of the body onto the thighs, and you can grab opposite elbows and dangle the head if that feels good. But we want to make sure that we're not putting any undue pressure on that lower spine. So we don't want to be just dangling without any support. Last round of breath here. Release those arms, inhale. Let's lift up halfway and then exhale, plant the palms, step it back, downward facing dog. Step the feet a little bit closer together. Inhale, right leg back and up, bend the knee and open the hip. Shoulders stay even. And just maybe a few turns of the ankle if that feels good in both directions. Notice what's happening with the shoulders, the muscles of the upper back. If the shoulder blades are starting to pinch, see if you can widen them. Inhale, straighten the right leg, square off the hip. Exhale, shift forward into plank, knee to nose, round through the spine, engage to the belly. Inhale, three-legged dog, back and up. And then exhale, shift forward into plank, knee to nose, and then step or carry that foot in between the hands. Set up for warrior two. Spin the left heel down, heel to arch alignment. Make sure that the alignment of the feet and that right knee is where it needs to be. And then when you're ready, you can use your hand onto your right thigh to press your way up, or if you can tighten up through the core and it's safe to do so, circle your way up, arriving into warrior two. And then just making sure the knees in the right position, the shoulders are moving down. Let's flow a little bit. Flip the right palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Make sure that back leg stays strong. Continue to circle that arm if that feels good on the shoulder. And then exhale, side angle pose. Left arm back and up and continue to circle. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reverse. And exhale, side angle. And feel the work of the side waist, the work of that side core, and also that stretch of the core as well. Side angle pose, and then let's circle both arms out and up as we straighten both legs. Turn all 10 toes to point towards, it'll be the left side of your mat. Soft bend in the knees. Let's come into a wide leg forward fold. Forearms onto the thighs, or if you can easily reach the floor, go ahead and find your fingertips onto the floor. And then maybe a little mini side lunges from side to side, making sure those knees track towards the direction of the toes. Knees don't go past the toes, and it's just a comfortable, mild sensation. And then let's come back to center, soft bend in the knees, and let's start to walk it over to the back edge of the mat. So now your left foot is the lead foot. Release that right knee down, and let's come into a twist. Circle that left arm back and up and move the shoulders down. So you'll be facing the back edge of the mat. And then let's take that left arm back the way it came so you could stretch out through the left side of the chest. Facing the back of the mat. Let's curl those right toes under, lift the right knee. And then soft bend in those knees. Let's walk it back to center. Take an inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, release. And you can stay higher, forearms onto the thighs if you need to. Soft bend in those knees. Let's walk it back to face now the front of the mat. And then we'll slowly release those hips down. Draw the shoulders back. Breathe here, easy stretch. And then you can lift the hips up just so you can plant the palms, step it back to plank, and then your choice. Maybe it's straight back to downward facing dog. Maybe it's a plank hold, or maybe if you want a little bit more energy, you're flowing through your vinyasa with the knees up or down, whatever feels good to your body, moving with the breath. And then back to downward facing dog. And then let's move over to the other side. Inhale, left leg floats back and up. Exhale, bend the knee and open the hip. And then maybe it's a few circles. And then straighten the left leg, square it off. Shift forward into plank, knee to nose, engage to the core. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, shift forward in plank, knee to nose. And then step or carry that foot in between the hands. Set your right foot down for a warrior two base. So now you will see what the back sides of poses look like. And then when you have that really good alignment for warrior two, you can use your hand to press your way up, or you can circle your way up, landing in warrior two pose. Move the shoulders down. And then flowing. Let's flip your left palm. Inhale, reverse. And then exhale, side. When we did do a little circle with that arm, excuse me. And then side angle and circle. Inhale, reverse and circle if that feels good on the shoulder. Exhale, side angle and circle. One more time. Finding that Ujjayi breath. And then this time, let's straighten both legs, arms out and up. And then exhale, soft bend in the knees, your forward fold. Hello. And then if you'd like to do a little mini side lunges, or if it feels like you can go a little bit deeper, you can, but just do what feels good to your body. And then we'll come back to center, soft bend in the knees. Let's walk it to face towards the back of the mat. Release Now your left knee down, and let's circle that right arm back and up, coming into a twist. Melt the shoulders down, breathing here. Making sure that your hips don't kind of sway off to the side. Let's take the right arm back the way it came. Nice, slow, easy stretch. Face forward, curl left toes under, straighten the left leg. Release those hips down. And then soft bend in the knees. Let's walk it back to center. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hello again. And then let's soft bend in the knees, lift the chest. Go ahead, walk it forward. Come back to face the front of the mat. And then let's slowly step it back. Plank pose, top of a push-up. Your choice of how you'd like to make your way back to downward facing dog. And when you get to downward facing dog, let's separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Start to walk those hands back to the feet. Settle the heels and either supported forward fold or moving into your yogi squat. And we'll just take a few deep rounds of breath here. And then as you're ready, let's invert. So let's come into a supported forward fold, stepping those feet so the toes point forward, rolling out up the spine, adjusting the clothes as needed. And then inhale, arms forward or out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. I'm going to turn to face you once again. So we'll start with all 10 toes pointing forward or parallel to each other. Hands onto the hips, shoulders move back, and I'll mirror you since I'm facing you. Let's lift the right heel, turn the right knee and the right toes to point to your right. And find kind of warrior 2 feet, but we're coming into triangle pose. So let's keep both legs relatively straight. So tighten up through those thighs, extend the arms out, pull the shoulders down. And then let's start to draw those hips over to your left. Reach as far as you can comfortably over to the right as if you're reaching for something. And when you can no longer reach and you really have these nice straight lines of the side waist, then you can swivel the arms and open up through the chest. Move the shoulders down, open up through the arms, breathing here. Maybe the gaze is up to the top hand if that feels good, but really feel this work. A lot of work happening in this top side waist. That's what helps to keep that spine still in a good position so we're not rounding too much. Remember, we're not trying to touch our toes. And then let's slowly start to bend through that right knee, come back to warrior 2. Straighten the leg, all 10 toes to point forward, over to the other side. Just coming into our standard triangle pose. Keep both legs straight. Pay good attention to the alignment of the feet. When you're ready, extend those arms out. Draw those hips over to the right as you reach. Kind of out and up to the left. Feel that work of that top side waist. And we can no longer stretch. Then we'll change the position of the arms. Move the shoulders down away from the ears. And breathe here. So think of nice, long, straight lines along the body. One last round of breath. Triangle pose is not only a good pose to stretch, but it's also, I feel that it is a lot of work to maintain. And then let's start to bend through your left knee. Come back. Warrior 2, straighten, hands onto the hips, all 10 toes pointing forward first. Draw the heels in for temple pose. Adjust the clothes if you need it. I need to make space. And then start to bend those knees. I'm going to actually widen my feet a little bit more. So make sure those knees don't go past the ankles. They track towards the direction of the center of the toes. And then we're getting nice and upright. Tighten up through the core. Think about the tailbone. It's moving kind of more down, so we don't want to lift it up and overarch that lower spine. And then let's interlace our fingers back behind us if that's comfortable, or hands onto the hips with the thumbs drawing towards each other. And let's roll their shoulders back and take a moment here. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit, you can close the eyes if that feels good, or just keep them open. Keep opening those knees to the direction of the toes, breathing here. Take another inhale, open up through the shoulders and the chest without arching through the spine, and then go ahead and stand up. Change the crossing of the fingers if they're crossed. Remember, hands onto the hips, drawing the elbows back towards each other is a nice option. And then let's rebend. Always making sure those knees track towards the center of the toes. Feel the work of the legs to open up. And breathing here. Feel that opening of the chest. Ooh. Feel the work of those legs. One last round of breath. And then let's stand up tall. Release those fingers. Turn all 10 toes to point forward. Inhale, arms out and up. Soft bend in the knees as you exhale, coming into a wide leg forward fold. Forearms onto the thighs, or if you can be comfortable with those hands onto the legs or onto the mat, feel free. For this one, I'm just going to come onto my forearms, onto my legs. Make sure you feel the weight moving a little bit more towards the balls of the feet. And then, as you're ready, soft bend in those knees so that you can reach for the mat. Start to heel toe those feet back towards each other. And then from here, start to bend those knees and let's rise, come onto our toes. So lift those heels. And if it doesn't feel so good to have this much flexion in the knee, then feel free to modify or even skip. And then maybe just a little bit more balance, drawing the palms of the hands together. So I don't know if you can see, but my heels are lifted off the mat. That's why I'm shaking around a little bit, working my toes, stretching out the soles of the feet, lifting my heels as high as I can. And then in the manner that is most safe and comfortable for you to come onto your bottom, go ahead and make your way there. All right, let's first do a nice stretch for the neck before we come onto our backs and continue to stretch the rest of our body. So we're still sitting up tall, still engaging through the core slightly to support the spine. And then we're relaxing the shoulders down. So if you do have any neck concerns, feel free to, just back off or even skip. But sometimes we have a tendency to hold a lot of stress in these muscles that support the neck and the head. So let's get a nice good stretch for that. So we're sitting up tall, bottom of the chin parallel to the floor. So we don't want to be looking up or down, just even neutral position. And we'll take an inhale. And then as you exhale, let's lean our head. I'll mirror you over to your right. And then if it feels good, your left arm, your left fingers can kind of walk slowly away from the rest of the body. It'll enhance the stretch, but just find that something that works good for you. And let's take 3 more nice deep rounds of our Ujjayi breath here. Start to feel the body slow down, feel it relax. And then very gently, we'll first relax through that left arm and slowly upright the head. Sit up tall, take an inhale, make sure those shoulders are over the hips. And then as you exhale, over to the other side. And then you can walk your right fingertips a little bit further away from your body. Make any micro adjustments if you need to make it a more comfortable stretch. And if you do need to sit up on a blanket or anything, always feel free to add props and support. That feels good. One more round. And then relax slowly, upright. And then now let's come on to our backs. So let's slowly release down. And then when you get down there, let's start to draw that right knee in and let's straighten the right leg. So if you do have a strap or a towel, you're welcome to use that to place over the foot. And if you don't, you can use your fingertips just very gently behind the thigh, just for a little extra support. So we're not using our arm to drag our leg towards us. We're finding that mild sensation of a stretch. Maybe it's just keeping that leg up to the ceiling or even a little bit further away from you, and you can draw your hands a little bit further down the leg towards your bottom. Just nice, easy stretch. Maybe even a little action with the foot if that feels good. And then draw those toes back down towards your face. And then let's come into our thread the needle pose, crossing ankle over the thigh, flexing the foot the whole time, either staying here, working on drawing that right knee to be in line with the right ankle. If it is okay on your body to go deeper into the stretch, you can draw the leg shape towards you, support your legs either with your arms or with a strap, a towel, whatever you need to make sure that you're not just letting them hang out, because that can cause some discomfort in the lower back. Then the lower back starts to get involved with working to support the legs, and we want that lower back to feel relaxed. So coming into your thread the needle pose, feel the shoulders relax. And if you happen to remember any areas that were tense in our opening pose of Shavasana, just bring your awareness to those areas and see how they're doing. See if they are tensing up, and if they are, breathe into them, release them, finding that deep Ujjayi breath. And then let's slowly release left foot down. Release right foot down, over to the other side. We'll first start with straightening that left leg up to the ceiling, fingers behind the leg, or you're using a towel or a strap, finding straight. Maybe for the first few moments, you're getting a little bit of movement with the foot, with the ankle. I just cracked my toes. And then let's come into a sustained stretch, drawing those toes gently back towards you, just so you can feel a stretch along the back of the ankle, the calf. Taking a few moments here. Feeling even the forehead kind of soften. And then let's slowly release. Cross left ankle over right thigh above the knee, flex through the left foot. Open up that left knee. Maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're drawing the leg shape towards you, looking for that mild sensation on this left hip. And supporting your legs. In all of our stretches, we do want that mild sensation, but we also want to feel supported. So if we do have any limbs off of the floor, we do want to make sure that we are giving them some support, whether it's through our own bodies or the use of props. Taking a moment here, softening through the face. I find an immediate way to soften through the face is to just have a gentle smile. And a couple more rounds of breath here. And let's slowly release. Right foot down, left foot down. So draw the soles of the feet together, widen those knees. Hands are on the outer legs for support if you need them. If it is comfortable to allow the legs to kind of float there, you can do that. Just notice if you're starting to lift your lower back off of the mat. So we want to keep that spine in as neutral position as we can. So if you do find you need a little bit of support, you can use your fists. I like to kind of put them right underneath, like almost right under my bottom, still on the outer legs, but just that little bit of support will help to keep the lower spine in a neutral position. And we'll just find that easy, gentle stretch through the inner legs. Start to feel maybe that essence of Shavasana starting to come into your practice or into your mind, into your body. And then we will use our own hands to draw those knees back. So knees together, separate the feet. So feet are wide as the mat. And let's draw those arms either up to the ceiling or up over the head. If you can easily and comfortably relax those elbows down with a diamond shape, fingertips just gently touching. If that feels too much on the shoulders, cactus arms or T-shaped arms, or you can just draw the arms down by the sides with the palms facing up. So whatever feels good. And then let's gently sway those knees just a little bit over to the right. So it doesn't have to be all the way. You just want a little bit of an easy twist. You'll also feel an opening along this left side of the body. Holding here for a moment. You can even turn your head to the left, so opposite direction that the knees are in. And then let's draw the head through center, knees through center. Knees are over to the left. Maybe the head is turning to the right. Feel an opening along the right side body. And finding that Ujjayi breath. And then let's draw those knees back up, rest the knees against each other. Let's take our hands, if you can comfortably, underneath the head, remove any hair that's there. And then you can interlace your hands and then place the heels of your hands right at the kind of the base of the skull. And we'll lift the head and just start to gently pull the head away from the body. So lengthening through the back of the neck. And then slowly release the head down. And then now we'll move the hands. You can even separate the hands a little bit more. So the hands are kind of just right at the back of the head so you can feel your thumbs. Use your thumbs just to give yourself a little massage along those muscles around the neck. And kind of looking for any tight spots that you can give some attention to, whether you're doing a slow circular pattern or you're just very gently applying pressure. Remember, just very gentle pressure. If you do find a little tight spot, to help release. So whatever movement feels good, if it feels good to turn the head a few times or draw the head left and right a few times, you can. Just give your neck some good attention, some good love. And then we'll release. Draw the arms alongside the body. Start to step the feet hip bone distance. Draw one knee at a time into your chest, towards your chest. Happy baby pose. Peace fingers around the big toes or hands behind the thighs. Whatever movement feels good. Rocking, whatever stretches feels good. Remember, just do what feels good to the body. And then as you're ready, let's release. Release your feet down onto the mat. Find your way into your most comfortable pose of Shavasana. I've been doing a lot of sitting, so my lower back is a little tighter than it should be, so I'm going to keep my knees bent. But if it feels good to lengthen the legs on your mat, you can separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Let's keep those arms down by the sides. Turn the palms to face up. Just allow the fingers to curl. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale out the mouth. I will play the sound of the ocean in your Shavasana. And let's enjoy these next couple minutes of peace. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into your fingers, into your toes. And on the next inhale, you can stretch the arms up to the ceiling or over your head. And as you exhale, hug the right knee into your chest, followed by the left. Give your knees a squeeze. And then slowly roll onto one side, taking a moment in fetal pose. And then as you're ready, you can slowly press your way up to a comfortable seat, head coming up last. And when you get there, let's stack the hands atop our heart, take a moment to feel gratitude for whatever you are grateful for in your life. Let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. As always, it is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining me for our practice. Stay safe and healthy. If you have any feedback, please let me know, and we will see you next time.